Hello folks, this is Sula once again. Welcome to another video for Teamfight Tactics. In this video, we're going to be looking at a team composition that's popped up in the last few days on the League of Legends servers, Teamfight Tactics servers, whatever you want to call them. And that is a Renewer team composition based around re-rolling for Lissandra. So this is the first time I've tried to run this team composition. I am in no way an expert on running this team, but I wanted to give it a try. So we're going to give this a swing here in a normal game. I go for the tier on Carousel. In my Karma games, if you've watched me playing some of them, I tend to go for tier at the start of every game. But you also want to get a tier when playing this Lissandra-based Renewer team composition because she also needs a blue buff, and that of course requires 2 tiers. So you will need to get at least 2 of them in order to make this work. All right, so what makes this team composition work? Well, basically, the Renewer's trait ends up being stronger than people initially thought, and in particular, Lissandra turns out to be a pretty good carry. So if you can 3-star her, she ends up being quite strong, stronger than you would expect for a 1-cost unit. Lissandra is a 1-cost unit. She is Renewer plus Coven, and the basic idea behind this comp is to make her the Coven leader, and I'll talk more about Coven as this video goes along because I haven't casted a Coven. I don't think I've done a game with Coven on either on live stream or here on YouTube previously, so I'm going to try to highlight that. But making Lissandra the Coven leader and then relying on her to carry you until the late game when then some of the other units can take over. In particular, Heimerdinger becomes a very strong late game carry. Now, this comp is not going to work for too much longer. The plan is this is set to be nerfed in the next patch, so it's, as I said, it's not going to be around too much longer, but it is something that's pretty popular right now. Now I have some decent pieces here. I see there's 2 Grogguses, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the Groggus and toss that in here. I also want to pick up this LeBlanc. I believe that I am likely to get at least some gold. I don't think I've gotten any gold drops yet, so I believe I'm guaranteed to get at least a little bit of gold here, if I remember this correctly. So there's another tier pops out, and I have just like a perfect start for this. Unfortunately, I'm going to get enough gold to pick up that LeBlanc. I have 2 tiers for a blue, and then I've got a rod for some kind of AP item. So I have like the dream start here in terms of items for playing this comp. You really could not get anything better other than 2 tiers and a rod to start. This is, as I said, it's a dream start. But I do need to work my way into that. In terms of champions, it has been not quite as good. I only have 1 Lissandra and 1 LeBlanc. I'm going to need to get Lissandra. She's going to be the primary focus, the primary carry for this team composition. So I'm going to need Lissandra's. I want to try to 3-star Lissandra, so I'm going to want 9 of them eventually. And I also need to find Morgana because she is the other champion you need to play Coven. Coven's an unusual trait. There are only 3 champions that make the Coven trait. It is Lissandra, and it is LeBlanc, and then it is Morgana. And you need all 3 of them unless you're able to get a Coven spatula, but that's a very unusual and rare thing that you're not likely to get because it is the spatula plus shadow tier recipe, or Shadow Spatula plus tier, not something you're going to get very often. So for the moment, I also made a random Kled. I just have the Kled in along with a ribbon that dropped from the initial minion rounds, and also the Groggus, because I found the Groggus. Now here on the initial army, I see a Shadow Glove, and I was like, ooh, I think I've got to pick that up, because Shadow Glove plus the Rod makes the Shadow Jeweled Gauntlet, which is a very strong item. The problem with the Shadow Gauntlet is it is possible for your units to kill themselves via the Shadow Gauntlet. So I should talk just briefly about that. Again, this is still relatively early in set 5. If you're unfamiliar with these items, 2 tiers together makes a blue buff. That will give the champion 30 mana at the start of combat, and then after they cast their ability, they will get, I believe they start at 20 mana, so it's very good on Lissandra. She'll start at 30 mana, and then after she casts her ult, she'll go back up to 20 mana again. Her ultimate costs 50 mana, so she will cast much, much, much more often with the blue buff. And then the Jeweled Gauntlet. Jeweled Gauntlet allows your spells to crit. The normal Jeweled Gauntlet just lets your normal spells crit and adds some additional critical strike chance, I believe. Is it critical strike chance or critical strike damage that it gives? I have that cheat sheet here, so I'm just going to pull that up here. The normal Jeweled Gauntlet is 40% bonus critical strike damage, so your spells can crit and they do more damage. The Sacrificial Gauntlet is your spells can crit, so you keep that. You get the 40% additional critical strike damage, but you also get 20% more critical strike chance. I believe that it takes the user up to about 50% critical strike chance just with the Sacrificial Gauntlet. So it's a very powerful item. Your spells do so much more damage with that. Especially if they crit, they do just like massive damage. But the problem is the Sacrificial Gauntlet, you damage yourself every time you use an ability. you take 15% of your health in damage every time you use it. So there is the danger that LeBlanc can kill herself by using the gauntlet. I am hoping that I can find a gunblade so she will then not kill herself when she uses her ultimate. But the item's just too good. I have to build that item. It's way too good for me not to pick that up. All right, so I dropped the Kled. You might have noticed I put the items on Kled just for one round because I knew I was going to sell him at level 4, even though Kled doesn't even use mana, so the blue buff was hilariously useless on him. But I just tossed it on him for one round, even though the blue literally did nothing. And then Kled was out, and then at level 4, I played the LeBlanc, and then I played the Lissandra, because I do want Lissandra to hold these items. I have actually made a mistake. I shouldn't play LeBlanc here, because she's not doing anything. I should be playing the Warwick, and I think I do that after this round goes on. Okay, so we've got a Carousel. Out of everything I could pick here, I would pick the Morgana, because she would give me Coven trait, and that's what I really want to get in, but she gets taken immediately, so that's no good to me. I also just, another Rod would be good. So out of the options that are left over, I just want to pick whatever is on a 3 gold champion, and I see that there is a Nocturne who's a 3 gold champion with a Shadow Vest. Shadow Vest has a lot of useful tank options, so I'm going to go ahead and just have that item so I can put it on a frontliner. Right now, my top frontliner is Gragas, but we'll see if I can put that on someone else. Probably, I think I ultimately do put that on Gragas, but the idea is just to have that on a frontliner. I'm going to hold and see what items I get from the next minion drop before I commit that, I think. All right, so this was a better flop from the champions I could buy. I was able to pick up a second Lissandra and a second LeBlanc, but not able to 2-star either of them. If I can't 2-star them, I think it's better to play the Warwick so I can make the Brawlers trait here. Now, there's one other thing that I need to mention, and that's in terms of economy management. I have not put any gold into experience yet, and that's because I am playing a reroll composition. When you play reroll team comps, you generally hold off and do not level early because you want to keep your level lower, because you want to have better odds to find the 1-cost and potentially 2-cost units. So because I want to try to find 3 Lissandras, I have not leveled yet, and that's a little bit different from what you normally see me doing in these games. Normally, I like to try to push levels. I think normally you want to push levels because you have access to better champions, more expensive champions, but that's not what I'm doing here. I am going to go ahead and sell the Warwick and sell the Kha'Zix to get to 20 gold. And unfortunately, I have not been able to get on any kind of a streak thus far. I've gone win-loss, which is, like I said, not good from an economy perspective. From a pure economy standpoint, it probably would have been better to just loss streak and lose all of the initial rounds. That's often what people do if they're playing a reroll team competition. When you have fewer units in, that means that you are inherently kind of weaker until you start rerolling. You don't want to start rerolling until you have enough gold, until you get up to 50 gold typically. So typically you'll lose the early rounds, and then in the mid game you'll spike because you're rerolling while other people are leveling, and then sometimes in the late game the reroll comps fall off again because other team compositions are getting up to like the 4-cost and 5-cost units, whereas you're behind in levels because you were re-rolling. So that tends to be the case in a lot of these early setups, but it's okay. As I said, the nice thing is, even though I've lost 2 rounds, I've only lost 8 health. Keeping my health up is not the worst thing. And this lobby is maybe not quite as difficult as some of the ones that I've hit in my ranked games. It is a normal game. And that's helpful here as well, because the caliber of opposition maybe not as strong as in some of the ranked games that I've played. So that round actually didn't go that well. I took 6 damage there, but it is what it is. I need to get a little bit stronger here. It's a little bit unfortunate I haven't found any Morganas yet, and also a bit unfortunate I haven't managed to hit any additional Lissandras. In all honesty, you probably should not try to play this team composition, the reroll Lissandra, if you're at the end of stage 2 and you only have 2 Lissandras. I honestly would not recommend doing this. I would say pivot into something else. Like I could probably just pivot into a standard Karma Dawnbringers game here. But this was the first time I had tried to play this. I wanted to experiment with this team composition and just see how it went. But I would probably say don't look to play this if you only have 2 Lissandras at the end of stage 2. Because it's going to be difficult to get up to 9 of them if you only have 2 thus far. All right, so once again, we went through the minion round. I did get some additional gold. I got in Nico's help. That's actually quite nice, because that means I only need to get 8 Lissandras if I want to 3-star her instead of getting 9, so that makes things a bit easier. In terms of the items here, I've got that glove. I was thinking oh, should I, do I want to put the glove on Lissandra? That could be like a glove plus sword for Infinity Edge. Because Infinity Edge synergizes really well with the Sacrificial Gauntlet. Or also, I was like, or do I just want to look for another rod and put a normal Jeweled Gauntlet Normal Jewel Gauntlet plus Sacrificial Gauntlet's pretty good. I decided, you know what, I'll wait and see what I get from the Armory. There's an Armory coming up right after this. And by the way, when Lissandra crits, she does an immense amount of damage, even though she's a one-cost unit. You saw her first spellcast critted there, and it just, like, wiped out half of the enemy team. She got another crit on that attack as well. And yeah, so even though I feel like I'm pretty weak here, you know, level 4, I have one 2-star unit, and it's a Gragas. Like, that's it. I don't have any other 2-star units, and I'm level 4. I actually do win that round, kind of surprisingly. As I said, I think the other people in the lobby were mostly not all that strong. I actually feel like I should have been taking a lot more damage than I've been taking thus far. So then I get a chance to pick items, and I've got a bow and I've got a vest. And these are not the items I want, unfortunately. These are actually kind of bad as far as items go for this comp. So I'm going to go ahead and toss in Vlad. Vlad will give me the Renewer trait finally. Actually, the first Renewer I've seen the entire game, other than Lissandra. And then I'm looking at different options here. I was like, oh, you know, I've kind of got half of items that would be good on Morgana. I want to play Morgana later on. She's the 3rd unit I need for Coven, remember? And it's like I've got half of a Guardian Angel, which is really good on Morgana. I've got half of a Morello's, which is really good on Morgana. So I was like, you know what? I do want to do something with these items. I don't just want to have them all sit on the bench. I'm going to go ahead and make the Shadow Shroud of Stillness on Gragas. He's a good person to hold it because mana's not very important on Gragas. Like, he just becomes tanky for the next few seconds after he ults. So I don't really care about Gragas shrouding himself, but like here, like look at the value of this Shadow Shroud of Stillness. I just shrouded the entire enemy team. That's so much value there. And of course, I did hit Lissandra 2-star, so that's really big as well, just to get the Lissandra 2-star. That's going to make me a lot stronger. And in fact, she's actually shredding the enemy team pretty good, even though she's just a little one-cost unit. She is, in fact, doing quite a bit here. She doesn't even have Coven trait yet to help her out. But yeah, I mean, she's, with these items, with the blue, she casts a lot. And that Sacrificial Gauntlet, when she ults and gets a crit, she does a lot. So here's another nice flop. I get another Lissandra, and now I will start re-rolling. Again, I want to stay over 50 gold so that I get as much income as possible, more gold to re-roll. And then now the Lissandras have finally started to show up. And this is pretty lucky to get 2 Lissandras. Like, all right, I'm up to 5. You know what? We can do this. I only need to find 3 more. I can find 3 more, hopefully, as long as I'm not too unlucky. I suppose this is a good time to talk about what Lissandra does as a champion, because she's the focus of this video. I'm going to read the description of how her ability works. So Lissandra is Coven plus Renewer. We have Renewer trade in. We're still waiting on Coven. Her ult costs 50 mana, and here's the description. Lissandra hurls a dagger towards the enemy with the highest attack damage, deals magic damage to the first target it hits. So keep this in mind. She always targets the enemy with the highest AD. She's actually kind of a good anti-AD unit. After hitting its initial target or its final destination, the dagger explodes, deals magic damage to nearby targets. All enemies hit by this spell have their attack damage reduced for 8 seconds. And I believe it right now at 2 cost, or at a 2-star version, it is a 40% attack damage debuff. So she targets you see me lose to the Abomination unit there. So she's going to target whoever's the highest AD on the enemy team. So she actually works pretty well against attack damage team compositions, not as good against magic damage based team compositions. She's going to target whoever's the highest AD. She's going to toss out a ice dagger. It explodes at the first thing it hits and does like little minor AoE damage to whoever she hits in the area. All right, so I have a chance to pick some other items. Again, I would be happy to get that Needlessly Large Rod because that can make a Morello's, but it's going to get taken. I was like, at this point, I don't really know what I want. I was like, I could take the LeBlanc for LeBlanc 2-star, but time goes by, that doesn't really work. And so ultimately I end up grabbing the belt, which is not really an item I want at all here. So that was kind of unfortunate, but Tarek was a 4 gold champ. So I just took that and I was like, I'll try to figure out something here later on. All right, so we're back to re-rolling. Again, we're slow rolling here, staying above 50 gold, hoping to find those Lissandras. I do find another Vlad, so that's nice. I've seen like no renewers at all yet in this renewer team comp I'm trying to play. And that was actually a pretty bad set of rolls. I didn't really find much of anything. So for the moment, I'm going to take out the Nunu that drops Brawler trait, and I'm going to put in LeBlanc. So I actually lose a trait, but I get a 2-star unit in, and I think that's better. Still no Morganas. 0 Morganas found thus far. So I was like, wow, that's a little unlucky not to have seen even 1 Morgana up to this point in time. That's not great. By the way, we just one-shot that Katarina, but the Katarina has a Guardian Angel, and then she revives... Or no, excuse me, not Katarina, Kha'Zix. He revives with the Guardian Angel, and it's a good example of GA providing good value. But then Riven's going to finish off 1 unit before she dies, and then Gragas is going to finish off the Thresh, and then he's actually going to finish off the the Katarina. And so now we have like this slap fight between Rel and Gragas, which is just hilarious. So now we're in overtime, and I was like, I think Gragas actually wins this, and he does. After drinking from that cask, he does more damage on his next auto, and yeah, okay. So that works, and aha, there's another Lissandra, so having some good luck here. Again, just need to find, one more, and then I can use the Nico. And aha, there we go. Wait, no, I still need another one after that. But I do find another Lissandra, so that's 7. So I just need one more now. And I'll grab the Vlad. I'll grab the LeBlanc. I'm not necessarily looking to 2-star these units, but maybe if I find enough, or 3-star these units, maybe if I find enough of them, I'll be able to 3-star them. And now I'm just going to reposition the Gragas. I just had a feeling that I was going to hit a comp that had their carries on the left-hand side. And aha, there we go, switching for the win. So look at that Shroud. Look at the value of that Shroud. If you're not familiar with Shroud of Stillness, it increases the mana cost of everything hits. The standard Shroud of Stillness increases the mana cost by 30%. The dark version, I believe, is 50%, but the dark version affects your units too. So now all we have left is this. What's the unit left? It is a Callisto on the other side, has powered up with that Rage Blade, but we're still able to finish that off. And the Shroud just flat out won that round. Like the Shroud of Stillness just flat out won that round for me. So this really does highlight the importance of items here in set 5. The shadow items are very powerful, but you have to use them correctly. So I was able to get great value. I think that the Shadow Shroud of Stillness, it was a good to use that. I don't want to have too many items sitting on my bench unused. I feel like I have too many unused right now. And there we go. The big hit. We find a Morgana and we find the Lissandra. So I go ahead and just Nico the Lissandra, and there we go. Lissandra 3-star. Boom. That's what we want. This is actually a mistake by me. I should wait, and I should wait for the next minion flop the champion flop at the beginning of the next round, just to see what I get. Because I might just get a natural Lissandra at the start of the next round. So that was a mistaken use of the Nico's help right there. All right, but the big thing is now that we've got Morgana in the game, now we have Coven trait in, which is one of the things that I wanted. I also want to make use of these items. I have a bow. Bows are very bad for this comp, so I'm going to do the best thing I can with a bow and make a Zerat portal. And then I'm hoping that I can try to get either a Morello's or a Guardian Angel, ideally both on Morgana, because those are her 2 items. But I want to wait and see what I get from the armory before that happens. All right, but you now see that we have Coven trade in. Coven, again, the 3 units are LeBlanc plus the Lissandra plus the Morgana. That makes Coven trade. So what does Coven do? As you see, Lissandra, now that she has Coven and 3-star, is just annihilating the enemy team. So what does Coven trait do? I'm just going to read the description for you. Coven, at the start of combat, the champion nearest to the center of your Coven champions is chosen as the Coven leader. They get 60% bonus ability power, and each time a Coven champion casts, 15% of the cost is bestowed upon the Coven leader as mana. So basically, the Coven leader gets a big infusion of ability power. They get 60% more ability power, and they also get mana every time a Coven champion casts. So that's kind of the setup, is the way that the trait works. Now, you do not need to have a Coven unit as the Coven leader. You can actually make a unit that's not a Coven unit into the leader. But Lissandra, who is a Coven unit, is going to be the leader here. Now I get another armory, and I see, aha, there's a Shadow Sword. And this is perfect for me. I'm going to take the Shadow Sword and make a Shadow Guardian Angel. Or Fallen Guardian Angel is the official title. It's the shadow version of Guardian Angel. And so what this does is it's like a normal Guardian Angel, except that when the person revives, they come back to life with 80% of their max health. However, their auto attacks are cut in half for the rest of combat. Now, on an auto attacker, that's really bad. You don't want to have your attack speed cut in half for the rest of combat. But on Morgana, who doesn't care about her auto attack speed, it's perfect. I don't need Morgana to attack quickly. She's going to get most of her mana just by getting hit by the enemy team. So the Shadow Guardian Angel is perfect. It means her ult's always going to go off. Like, her ult will always go off at least one time, and then it'll CC the enemy team. So like right here, I don't get off a very good Shroud, but Morgana is going to get off an amazing ultimate. She's going to hit literally the entire enemy team, and then that just buys enough time for Lissandra to just murder everything with that Shadow, with her Shadow Gauntlet and her extra ability power. I don't know exactly how much AP she has right now. I don't think I right-clicked and... Oh, she has 170. Okay, so her dagger deals 850 damage, and if it crits, it does well over 1,000 damage. And she casts more often because she's got the blue buff, and she also casts more often because she has the Coven trade in, and she's getting that mana restoration via Coven. So I am very, very strong right now, and she doesn't even have a third item. I'd still like to get a I'd really like to get a Gunblade on her, which would be great, just so that she stops killing herself with her Gunblade, with her Sacrificial Gauntlet. Or alternately, you know, just another Gauntlet would be great. Like a non-Sacrificial Gauntlet would be nice. Alternately, I could... wow, look at that. Did you see me trying to reposition there? It's like, no, I do not want Nunu to be the Coven leader. But I'm trying to reposition here. Remember, this is a really weird setup for positioning, because remember, I've got the Shroud of Stillness. I don't want shrouding my own champions. Here I actually mess up with that. Riven gets shrouded here, which is not what I want. And then I also have to, so I have to position around my Shroud, and then I also have to position around Lissandra being the Coven leader, because if she's not the Coven leader, my comp is immensely weaker. Now, I know that I lost to this comp the last time I hit it. I remember the Abomination, like, punched Lissandra to death, but, you know, she's doing just fine right now. Most of the damage she took was her self-damage from the evil Shadow Gauntlet, but we do have Renewer trait in, so she regenerates health a little bit. If you're not familiar with this trait, Renewers heal for a portion of their health and mana every second. At Renewer 2, she heals 3% of her max HP, or 3% of her max mana if she's full health. And alternately, she heals for... alternately, she'll get back 3%. If she's at full health, she'll get back 3% of her max mana each second. But with her injuring herself with the Gauntlet, she's going to mostly be regenerating health. It's not a lot, but it doesn't hurt. I'm trying to get up to 4 Renewer, which I would definitely like to have. But I need to find more Renewers. I haven't found Ivern. I have a Soraka just sitting on the bench because I'm waiting to play her. If I can find Ivern, I will play place the Soraka and the Ivern for 4 Renewer, which is really nice to have. Here on this carousel, I would have gone for the Shadow Rod again. Shadow Rod plus the belt would have been Shadow Morello's, which would be great on Morgana. But instead, I can just make a Chalice. Let's give that Lissandra even more AP. So I'm just going to put this on the Vlad for right now. And down the road, hopefully I can replace Vlad with Heimerdinger, who is kind of like the late game version of this. It's a little tricky, though, because I would like to get full value out of this Chalice, but like the positioning's a little bit wonky. I don't really want Lissandra in the middle of the arena. She's much better positioned on one of the sides. Ideally, you want to position Lissandra in the second row on the opposite side from wherever people are running their carries, so that her ult will travel more distance and it will like pop enemies on the other side. So like right here, you see one of the dangers of having her in the middle. She gets jumped on by the enemy team's Diana, and she actually just dies to Diana, who has kind of bad itemization, to be honest. You really don't want to Rage Blade on Diana. It's a bad item on her. But, you know, so now it's like, can the rest of the team pick up the slack, even though we lost Lissandra pretty early in the fight? Well, we managed to pop the, I think it was a Draven on the other side, so now it's just dealing with a Kindred. Kindred has a Shadow GA, so Kindred's attack speed's been cut in half. Might not look like it because we're in overtime. So it's like, can Vlad win this fight with the Kindred? And yes, apparently he can, which is really big because I want a 6-match winning streak. I get so much more gold by keeping that win streak going. But I don't really like where Lissandra's positioned right now. I want her to be more safe. I want her over on one of the sides. And, you know, I've been watching where the other people are playing their team compositions, and most of them are running their carries on that left-hand side. So that's why I'm positioning where I am right now. I want Lissandra on the right, so she casts to the left and hits their carries. And I want Morgana in the center, because that way her ult will hit more targets. And I want Gragas on the left, because as I said, most people's carries are on the left-hand side. So that's why I've been staying in this setup. And I think the positioning's been pretty good. Like, look at this team. So that Shroud's going to hit 90% of the enemy team. Lissandra is going to target the unit with the highest AD, so she's going to target like in a cluster right towards that Aphelios. I'm sure Aphelios has the most AD, so she's going to keep going over there. Remember, her ult is also an attack damage debuff. It reduces it now that she's 3-star. I believe it's a 60% attack damage debuff now that she's a 3-star. So every time she ults, she's going to debuff Aphelios' attack damage, and we just clean up that fight easily. Like positioning for the win. So that really couldn't have gone too much better. That comp, you know, has already gone to 8, has already rolled down at 8, so should be spiking. It is very, very bad news for that player, clearly Kyle, that they have rolled down at 8, whereas I have not rolled at all, and I'm still not. I wasn't level 8. They've rolled at 8, and I was still stronger than them. That's a really bad sign for them that I have not spent my gold and I'm still stronger than them. Economically, I'm thinking, you know, I'm on this big winning streak. I don't really feel that the other comps in the lobby are that strong. I'm thinking I'm just going to go to Fast 9. I'm going to play Fast 9, and then at 9 I'm just going to start tossing in legendary units. Like, I'll just replace the units I have right now with stronger legendaries. Gragas becomes Garen. Vlad becomes Heimerdinger. We'll probably want to get in like Mystic or something like that. Or if the lobby's very heavy on physical damage, maybe I could look to get in Iron Core, although this comp doesn't go Iron Core as readily. So we're going to go level 8 here. And we're just going to, again, look to fast 9. So I'm not going to roll here. I picked up the Lux because I figured I would toss in Mystic here at level 8. Again, I'm still looking to find an Ivern. It's kind of hilarious that I'm playing Coven Renewer and I found like no Coven units and no Renewer units. I found 1 Morgana and I found, 1 Soraka and I found 0 Ivern. So, okay. Just literally not hitting the pieces of this comp. But I found the Lissandras and that's what's most important. And that's been enough. I had good luck finding the 3-star Lissandra. I found that pretty quickly without a whole lot of need, without the need to roll too much. So that was the biggest thing. So Lissandra does get jumped on by Viego, and I was like, uh-oh, did Viego just steal my Lissandra? Oh no, that's not good. But the good news is Lissandra will kill herself pretty quickly. And of course, Viego, once he steals someone's soul, their health does drain away over time. So even though the worst thing possible happened with Viego getting on top of the Lissandra, the rest of my team just murdered everything else. Don't sleep on the Morgana either at this point. She has really the absolute best items for her. She has the Shadow Guardian Angel, and she has a Morelos. So she will always get her ult off 100% of the time, and she'll apply Morelos to pretty much the entire enemy team because it's going to reach most of the enemy team from that position right there. So this is really ideal right now. Again, the other players in the lobby are not repositioning well enough. Most of them are still running their carries in a position where I can hit them with that Shadow Shroud of Stillness. So even though my positioning has not really changed, I haven't really seen much of a need to do so. There's like 1 or 2 comps that are running their carries on the right-hand side. And until more people do that, I don't really see, like, this is the one comp that actually has moved over there. They've got their Kale over there, and they've got a number of Mystics. It looks like they're trying to play the Kale stall comp, which is not great for me because Kale, of course, will outdamage Lissandra over time. And unfortunately, it looks like Lissandra is targeting the Rel for whatever reason. Rel apparently is the highest attack damage. I don't know how that happened. But now she's belatedly targeting the other part of the team, but Kale's already ramped up, and it does not look like I'm going to win this round. Not yet. Gragas and Vlad, I don't think they got this, but that's okay. As I said, I was honestly expecting to lose the win streak much earlier than I actually lost it. So while it's sad to lose the win streak, it was probably should have lost it a lot earlier than that. And again, I'm just going to look to keep going 9. I can get there probably at the end of stage 5, and then I'll have plenty of gold to roll with. Because even if I start losing rounds, no one is going to. I'm in no danger of getting knocked out. I have 73 health. I'm in plenty of shape. In no danger whatsoever of getting knocked out of the lobby. So I'm fine to just keep going to 9 and then play legendary units at 9. Upgrade to better units. Like I still don't even have 2-star Morgana at this point. I can get way stronger than I am right now. Oh, and I still need a 3rd item on Lissandra. I was never able to get that 3rd item on the Lissandra. Now, this round's a little bit sad because my Shroud does not really get much value. But this comp looks very weak. They've got like a 3-star Warwick, but with bad Warwick items. And then they have a 2-star set. I guess this person's trying to play Draconic, but I don't know. This does not look very good at all to me. I don't know if this... I did see a post on Reddit about like 3-star set. And like playing set with those AD items, but unless you have the 3-star set, this feels like a very weak setup. So we cut right through that team, even though our Shroud completely whiffed. And now we're going to be able to go to another carousel and look to get another good item here. All right, so I immediately see some stuff that's good here. There's a Renewer spat. That would be fantastic. Then I could drop one of the weaker Renewers and still get 4 Renewers in. That would be great. I would love the Heimerdinger. That would be nice. There's a Teemo with a Chalice. That would be great as well. But so all of these things get taken, and I'm able to fall back on something that's still great. Well, I guess the Renewer spat was still there. I see an Infinity Edge, and with us being so close to the end of the game, I want to get that 3rd item for Lissandra. So the Infinity Edge is a perfect item to put in there. That will give her, I believe it gives her 100% crit chance with the Sacrificial Gauntlet. So now her spells will always crit, and that's just going to make her so much stronger. All right, so I also get a nice shop here. I'm going to get the Ivern, which is going to allow me to play 4 Renewer. I've been holding off on the 4 Renewer, like I said, literally the entire game. So this means the Renewer units will now regenerate 6% of their health and 6% of their mana every second. I also see the Teemo there, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I've got the health to play Teemo. I have Ivern for Invoker. Let's play Teemo at level 9, and that'll get Invoker into this team comp. So you're actually going to see me play Teemo, which I almost never do. And then I'll go ahead and sell the Nunu, who is great frontline up to this point in time. And then I'm going to sell the Riven, who is also a great unit to have in, just for just for the early game. Actually, I played Riven for like 80% of the game. So Lissandra does amazing damage, but we're not quite able to take down a 2-star Aphelios. That's not ideal, but I still don't feel that bad because I'm going to be able to go 9 on the minion round. And I'll have a lot of gold to roll at 9, so I should be able to get a whole bunch of legendary units and 2-star them. This is going to be the board: Renewer, Coven, Mystic, Nightbringer, Dawnbringer, and then Invoker from Teemo, and that'll be our board. Oh, actually, never mind. I just went 9 there because I had so much gold. I'm not going to roll here, but I figured, you know what, I'll just play Teemo. If it helps me win this round and not take 10 damage, then that's worth it. So Teemo, I don't think I've played Teemo in a single video. I almost never play this unit because I don't like the fact that you have to pay health to pick up Teemo. He doesn't cost any gold. He costs 6 health to pick up, and I really don't like spending health in that way. But, you know, I've got the health to spare in this game. He's going to put Invoker in. I think this is the appropriate moment to play the Teemo. What does Teemo do? Well, when his mana bar fills up, he tosses out mushrooms on the enemy team. By the way, look at this Morgana ultimate. She literally hits the entire enemy team with her ultimate. That's just insane. That's so much value from that Morgana ult. But getting back to Teemo, he tosses out mushrooms, and the big thing about his mushrooms is they explode and they deal magic damage. They are also an attack speed debuff. So they reduce the attack speed of people who get hit when they explode. Let me see if I can read the official description because I've got the cheat sheet here. Teemo scatters infernal souls around a random enemy. That's his mushrooms. When an enemy nears an infernal soul, it explodes, deals magic damage to nearby enemies, and reduces their attack speed by 50%. So the individual mushrooms don't do that much damage, but he does toss out. He tosses out 4 of them at 1 star, and then it goes up to 6 at 2 star. And they're an attack speed debuff, which is really nice against attack damage-based team comps. So I'm really strong against team comps that do physical damage because I've got Lissandra who debuffs AD, and I've got Teemo who debuffs attack speed. So like if you are a Kayle-based team comp or an Aphelios-based team comp, you do not want to see me. You don't want to see this. Anyway, we finally get another Morgana here. So now we're going to start rolling. Now we're going to upgrade to legendary units. I find the Heimer, so I'm just literally going to replace Vlad with Heimer. And I'm going to put that Ionic Spark. Actually, should probably go on the Morgana. So I actually realized, oh yeah, I should put that on Morgana. But I'll put the what is it? I put the Zerat portal on the Garen just because I don't have a slot for it on Morgana. And then I find a Kindred, which is going to be an upgrade over the Lux that I've been playing. And you see, I actually just ran out of time there. I didn't have enough time to upgrade to everything. But once again, the Shroud is still positioned perfectly. And remember what I said about my team being really good against team comps that are AD focused? Well, that's what happened to the poor Draven over there. He just literally died instantly. And then Heimer cast, yeah. My board is moving into legendaries, and I am just going to outscale these other teams. Lissandra did 10,000 damage because she got off an initial ult that just hit the back corner, and I believe she one-shotted the Draven with her first cast. Draven had a Risk Thirster, the Shadow Bloodthirster, and he had lost like a third of his max health. And so he just wilted instantly. He just died immediately when Lissandra cast. So because I was so strong in the mid-game, I was able to bank up a ton of gold. And now you're going to see what the results of spending all that gold are, because now I'm moving into all the legendary units. And once they're 2-starred, I'm just going to blow past these other teams. So I just need to roll. Hey, finally we get the Morgana 2-star. If she's been good up to this point, wait until now when she's actually a 2-star unit. By the way, I'm getting a lot of Kales, but there's really no way to play Kayle on this team comp. I find a Teemo. I believe I went past a Teemo earlier, but there we're going to make the 2-star Teemo. I have now paid 18 health to get 2-star Teemo. Don't think that that's worth it, but whatever. In a more close game, in a more competitive game, I would rather just play Syndra, honestly, and not spend 18 health. But I've got the 2-star Teemo, and he is a strong unit. I need to reposition the Heimer turret. It's still in a weird spot. Heimer turret should be in one of the corners. I want to put it in like the bottom left corner is probably where I need to put that, but haven't had a chance to reposition it. So remember how we lost to Kayle the last time we hit them? Well, now that my team has scaled up a bit, it's a little bit different. Heimer produces the turret fire, and Lissandra is just shredding her way through everything, and yeah, so that was not close. That was a comp that wanted to stall for Kayle, and we did not give them time to stall for Kayle. As I said, I've been moving into all these legendary units, and my comp is just outscaling these other players. The only other one who's looks strong is Withered Foxy, who has also done the same thing, kind of gone into a bunch of late-game legendary units. I believe Withered Foxy has a 2-star Heimerdinger, and that's quite strong here at the end of the game. Heimer is set to be nerfed in the next patch, so for at this point in time, at least, his ult was doing a lot of damage. By the way, not the greatest roll down here, not really finding as much as I wanted, but, you know, I've got the gold, I'll roll it. I would really like to 2-star the Heimer and 2-star... Oh, and I did 2-star the Heimer. Well, that's pretty good. I did 2-star the Heimer, which is probably the most important unit to 2-star. I also would like to 2-star Garen so that I can get, so that he'll have better odds to get the shred, get his magic resist shred off on the enemy team. So, like I said, Withered Foxy, I think this is the one other team that's strong in this team comp, because like he's got a Volibear who's jumping into the backlines, also gets off that Heimer ult. Note that his Heimer ult went off before my Heimer ult went off, and looks like he was able to kill my Lissandra with that Heimer ult. So this is a close round, but I'm not quite sure if we have enough left over. That Heimer is still alive, and yeah, since his Heimer has a Shadow Hand of Justice, which is a very strong item, he was just able to cast first, and we were not able to finish off the Heimer, so the Heimer killed everything. As far as what I want here, my top pick is the Garen, just because Frozen Heart's a great item to put on Garen, and it also means that I only need one more Garen to 2-star him, but that gets taken out. So I was like, all right, well, you know, if I can't get Garen, let's double up on another Shroud of Stillness. Another evil Shroud of Stillness, I should make clear. So I've got double evil Shroud of Stillnesses here, which is going to make positioning very weird. So I was like, okay, let's have one on the left-hand side. Let's have one on the right-hand side. That means I need to position my carries so I am not getting shrouded by my own evil shrouds. And so I was like, all right, this way, though, I can prevent Withered Foxy from having any of his carries get the Shroud of Stillness off. So I'm just going to slide my units over here. We're going to be moving and playing like all of my units away from the Dark Shroud of Stillness. So let's do this. And I was like, okay, I'm not actually up against Withered Foxy, so I will hold off and not commit the item because I know I can beat this comp. This is Black Woodier, and I am very confident I can win this fight. This is the comp that I just absolutely annihilated the last time I hit it, and guess what? We just annihilated it again. It was a ghost round, so I don't do any damage, but that would have been like 20-ish damage, if not more. So in this mirror match, or in this non-ghost match, I am very confident Withered Foxy will win. But like I said, I will hold off and not commit the Shroud of Stillness because then I can place it wherever I want at the start of the next fight. I'm pretty confident I'm going to place it on the right-hand side, and unfortunately I don't 2-star any units, but whatever. That's okay. So what am I going to do? I'm going to start repositioning my units here. I'm going to hold this. I know I'm going to play this on the right-hand side, so I'm going to look to put Ivern in a position where he is going to get the Shroud. I also still need to make sure that Lissandra is the Coven leader. Let's move all the other units, or I'm going to actually put it on LeBlanc, I think. Let's just move it so all the other units are out of the way. There we go. So now we're going to have the double Shroud of Stillness. So we're going to shroud his Zyra, and we're going to shroud his Heimerdinger as well. Now this is really crucial because this means my Heimerdinger will go off before his Heimerdinger, and that's the biggest source of damage for his team. So we're actually going to kill like his whole team before his Heimer gets a chance to ult. So we delay the Heimer ult, and by the time Heimer actually is able to get a cast off, well, the whole enemy team is basically dead by the time Heimer casts. So even though this is a scary comp that we're up against, it looks like that's enough for us to win the fight. So Shroud of Stillness, OP. That's enough for us to win, and we're able to take down a very dangerous team composition on the other side. So there you go. Lissandra reroll. First time I played it, I end up getting a first. And as I said, not the toughest lobby. I definitely had some good luck at times with things coming together, but still fun to see a different team composition and get a chance to showcase something for you. If you like this team comp, you better play it now because it's going to get nerfed in the next patch. But for the moment, it's quite strong, and it's a fun thing to try out. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, have a good one. See you guys soon.